EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Thursday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mack, John McMullen. John, how you doing on this Thursday? The Birds are back on the field today, but we will have no access but the final day of OTAs today. How you doing, John?
Doing well, yeah. 6 OTAs. This will be the final one of the spring. We got to see 2 of them. So it's an incomplete picture, but better than nothing, as they say. And all the spring work will be done next Tuesday, which is the one-day mandatory minicamp. And then you have your little break, and you'll hear about tight end university and offensive line masterminds. You know, the great players, they don't stop. And they might take a week off, have a little bit of vacation, 2 weeks off, but that's the new NFL. You gotta do stuff on your own. And you know the guys who do that. I mean, Devontae Smith is perfect. He's not even at OTAs, and everybody knows he's one of the hardest workers on the team. And see him down in Tampa working out with Ryan Williams, and so those guys are generally very honed in on their craft.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Best athletes in the world, John. It takes a lot to continue to stay at that level when you get to the top, and you obviously see that with the way these guys work all through the offseason. John, we do have some Eagles news here in the opening. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here on this Thursday morning here on Birds 365. We're 91 days away, everybody, from the banner drop from that season opener. John, can you believe it? 90 days until the new Eagles season kicks off. I feel like the offseason doesn't even exist anymore. It just feels like it's Eagles season all the time.
Yeah, well, that's why this show exists, and
Yeah,
a bunch of others popped up as well after we popped up. So that's part of it, but the NFL does a good job with the calendar. I talk about it all the time. And, it's a game, even in the regular season, it's a game where, Nick always says we're the only game, the only major sport that practices more than we play. So, you have all that time in between games to talk about the game, that last game, the upcoming game. It's just the nature of the game, the scarcity of it that drives the popularity. Because you're constantly talking about it. You're constantly speculating. Should they do this? Should they do that? That's probably more than anything that speaks to the NFL's success, the scarcity. That's why I'm concerned when they try to make it less scarce at times.
Yeah, right. Too many games. That definitely takes away the product right now. And by the way, they don't need to change much. I mean, they're really humming. The league is humming. The team is humming. The ratings are way up. The only TV show in the world, man, basically, where the ratings continue to go up. So you're right about that. You do got to wonder about that. John, in Eagle Land, the update in Eagle Land, I told you guys they're back out in the field today. No reporter access, so we will not be able to cover that for you outside of what we see put out by the Eagles organization. But they did sign a receiver yesterday, John. Ife Adeyeye. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. That's Ifeadeyei. It's tough pronunciation. Ife Adeyeye is what I'm going with. John, what are your thoughts on this signing? Give us some context on this one.
Yeah, he was at rookie camp as a tryout player. Another smaller guy, very fast. Ran a 4.35 time at his pro day. Went to Sam Houston, smaller school. Tristan McCullum went there as well. So, they have. It's not exactly Houston Christian or whatever they call Houston Baptist right now, but Sam Houston State guy. And the Eagles need some bodies because I said DeMonte hasn't been there. AJ has been there, but he doesn't do anything in team drills. They're very cautious with him. Johnny Wilson hasn't been there for some reason, which is strange. Plus, you've had some injuries with Avery Williams, Elijah Cooks, who's a back end to the depth chart guy. So they a lot of the bodies they have at wide receivers just are unable or they don't want them to practice right now. So you just need some bodies it's been Jahan Dotson, Terrace Marshall, Anaya Smith, and Danny Gray sort of mixing in as well with the first team and 11 personnel. And then all you have on hand after that are other undrafted free agents: Darius Cooper, Taylor Morin, Giles Jackson. So they needed another body just to get through the spring. But it's always exciting for a player to get signed to NFL, even for a 90-man offseason roster spot. And he's got, Howie always talks about long shots, day 3 picks. You're looking for one trait that maybe is an NFL trait and you can build on, develop. And he's got that one trait. He can run by everybody. So who knows? The upside would obviously be the practice squad, but we'll see if he has some return ability that would help him. But yeah, right now they need to get through practice.
Yeah. Speedy guy, speedy receiver, good stuff there. We'll see what kind of impact he has on the team. Good breakdown there from Johnny Mack. Not much of a news there. Probably just a camp body, right, John? You don't expect this guy to be a type of a difference maker or a guy that could make the team, do you? Do you think he could make the team?
Well, I mean, there's two different things. He could make the practice squad. You can stand out, but no, the 53, that a lot of things would have to go wrong. But nowadays, I mean, you get to keep 17 people on the practice squad. So everybody's got a chance at the practice squad if you outplay guys. So I think the term camp body's a little bit, passe, because you can get your foot in the door with the practice squad and grow from there. So everybody's got that upside. All 90 guys they have signed has that upside. So, but when you're talking about the 53,
right?
No. Yeah, there's obviously too many obstacles to get to that level.
John, some other news yesterday. Saquon Barkley made some comments that made the rounds yesterday. Pretty funny. He was on the Greenlight podcast with Chris Long. Basically asked him how long you're going to go, and he brings up Barry Sanders. He brings up Mack. I think I'm going to be one of those guys that just hangs him up, Johnny Mack. Saquon, what does that mean? He said maybe next year, maybe 2 years. Do we have 1 year left with Saquon Barkley, John? What is going on with the Saquon Barkley retirement?
No, I mean, Saquon loves Barry Sanders, loves him. I've talked to him about Barry a lot. Just has tremendous respect for him, and obviously he walked away early with plenty left in the tank. Something about the Lions, the poor Lions. Calvin Johnson did it. More understandable in their eras, Barry, and because a lot of bad teams, occasional upseason. Frank Ragnow just retired this year, which is now they're a good team. So they've had that kind of history. But yeah, I mean, he kind of explained that he wants to be. My assumption is that he doesn't want to hold on, like some guys hold on. He wants to play at that high level like Barry did. And when it starts to wane, he might walk away. But, he said 1 year, he said 2 years, he said 4 years. I think most of it has to do with how does he feel physically. And if it's not optimal, he's probably going to walk away quicker than people might expect, because most guys just try to play as long as they can. And I don't think he has that mentality. But I do think, from the standpoint we were talking off air before we got on, I think what this should put an end to, it won't, but it should put an end to the pitch count talk, which will be constant. It was constant last year when people talking about how can he touch the football this man? Yeah, they're going to ride him. They're going to ride him. I thought that before this, but even more so now. They're gonna give him the football as many times they need to give him the football to win a game. That's how they're going to approach this, and they're going to take advantage of the span of greatness, however it lasts, however long it lasts. If it's 2 years, it's 2 years. If it's 3 years, it's 3 years. Hopefully, it's more, but that's how they're going to approach it. And he's not going to do much in the spring. He doesn't. He's not going to do much in the summer. He's not going to do much in practice. They're going to manage him during the week. But on game day, they're going to give him the football.
How many years away do you think we are from maybe seeing some of those chinks in the armor? Like, I feel like Saquon is still early in his prime with the way, I mean, he got to Philly, obviously, just a year ago. He was in New York, which maybe took some years off the back end of his career with the way you have to play in New York with that offensive line and everything. But I feel like he's still got at least 2 great years left, John, maybe even more than that. I think more than that, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. What do you think on Saquon?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, the history is the history with guys who touch it as much as he did last year, which was pretty significant. All it was, if you think about it, it was 370, 378 in the regular season, and then you add almost another quarter of a season with 4 playoff games, and you add 104 to that. So he was close to 500 touches. There's not a lot of history with guys who touch it that much in a season. B, the ones who have, it generally isn't good. It's a position to where you take a tremendous amount of punishment. It's one of the reasons it's been devalued because of the short shelf life. So, I mean, we have to see what that wear and tear was. He was banged up at times last year, fought through it. Anybody who plays that position and touches it 500 times. Now, he's a physical freak and all that kind of stuff, so maybe he lasts a little bit longer. Derrick Henry's been able to do it for a long time and still be successful. But a little concerned with how many touches he had last year, and we'll see how that has a bearing on him.
We'll see how it all shakes out there. So with Saquon Barkley, but it was an interesting comment I made on the Green Light podcast about retirement. So we'll see about that. John, another player made a comment yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever it was, that caught my eye. All right. Jalen Carter talking about the rookie defensive tackle, Tai Robinson, made a great comment about him. He's coming. He said, have you seen him yet? Said he's working. And he said he expects him to contribute this year for that defensive line. What do you think? That's high praise from a great football player.
Well, I expect him to contribute this year but as the 4th guy, which is fine as a 4th round pick, that's all anybody should be hoping for. And I think that's what the Eagles are hoping for. And then you grow from there. I do think because physically he looks so impressive. Yeah, I think it's going to be people are going to be enamored with him. But it's not a bodybuilding contest. He's got a better body than Jalen Carter, but I'll take Jalen Carter on the football field. Yeah. So we'll see. But I like the upside of Tai Robinson. But yeah, people are going to be excited when they see him just from the physical presence. How that translates, we'll have to see. But I think he's a good 4th round pick, but he's a 4th round pick, and that's where you should start a 4th round pick, sort of rotationally. And I think he'll contribute as a rookie, and that's certainly the plan as they get into it.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm high on that player, and hearing Jalen Carter thinks he looks pretty good is a good sign as well. So we'll see what Tai Robinson can do this year. So that's the latest in Eagle Land on the updates. We do have Jeff Kerr coming up, our Thursday edition with Jeff Kerr. He's normally with us on Mondays, but we had a little bit of a scheduling issue on Monday with our 10 a.m. show on Monday. It feels like it was a long time ago, that 10 a.m. show. Week is moving slower this week, but Jeff Kerr will be with us today, coming up here in just a minute or just a couple of minutes. I do want to get to our commercial break because I got to tell you guys.
We got to get to CJ. We got to get to CJ before the break.
Let's do it before we get to the break.
Well, we can go to break, but
No, that's all right. I can get to the break. I got to get to a break before Kerr, but we will talk about CJ. That's right. CJ clapping back at Vic Fangio, Johnny Mack. I mean, this dude, the way I phrased it yesterday, John, was he's a headache. He's just a headache of a guy. He's very emotional, too, in his emotions all the time. I think he was a great player, and he did a lot of things for this team. But I do see why the juice was not worth the squeeze with bringing him back. What are your thoughts on his comments back?
Yeah, I mean, you see, he's high maintenance. I don't even want to call it headache, whatever you want to call it. He's high maintenance. So, and he does, I think your description of get into his feelings too much, that's the case. But he is a playmaker. So you weigh it. And obviously the Eagles had that demarcation line. We talked about it. And the guys above it were going to get paid. The guys below it, they wanted to move on from to save some money from the guys who are over it to come, like Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Quinyon Cooper, etc. But yeah, I mean, that's part of the CJ Gardner-Johnson experience, man. You're going to have days where he's your best friend, and you're going to have days where he's just, he takes everything to heart. But Vic didn't say anything bad. He just said it was a salary cap thing, which it was. More cash over cap, but from Vic's perspective,
from Vic, it's money. Yeah. That's all Vic sees.
Which it was, and he said I had no problem with it. Because he understands the business of football as well. That's it. He didn't take a shot at the player. Constantly talks about it, but you talked about Slay on his podcast earlier, talking about who the leader in the secondary is. Well, it already was Reed Blankenship, and he just reinforced that on the field. Even when Slay was here on the field, the leader was Reed Blankenship, because if you're playing left corner, you can't communicate with the right corner. So Slay was sort of the leader in the locker room, but on the field, it was already Reed. And he said that publicly, and CJ took issue with that. It's part of the experience, man. Great player, though. I'm not going to deny that. And
nobody's saying he's not a great player, but is he good enough, John, to be worth that? I call it a headache. I'll stick to that. I do think it's a headache. That's what I get from it.
I would have paid him one more year. I think it was low enough to get through it.
Because I do think the interesting part about it is, John, like he was kind of on a pretty bargain deal. Not bargain, but not expensive.
Exactly. It was you could have paid him. If he were if he was not high maintenance, he'd be back. I've never wavered off that. If he were not high maintenance, he would be back. So, but he creates these issues. Like, it's not like the Eagles don't like playmakers. He's a little bit difficult to deal with.
Yeah, no, he is. No doubt about it. Interesting, though, CJ Gardner-Johnson. I mean, Vic gives like 8 words on an obvious question that he was going to get. I didn't even think he stepped out of line at all. And there's CJ Gardner-Johnson's got to clap back. But hey, listen, that's the mentality he has. And sometimes that's been good for him in certain areas, but it's definitely a negative in other areas as well. Let's get to our commercial break. We got Jeff Kerr coming up here, but I do want to tell everybody about a great promotion at the Wildwoods this year. All right, I told you guys our spot was back for the summer. They're back to support and sponsor the shows all through the off season. So I want to tell you guys about a contest they are running over on their website. And I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. All right, so you guys can see the link in the chat. They are giving away a family vacation at the Wildwoods in 2025. You can enter on the website I just put in the chat to win a 4-day, 3-night stay in a Wildwoods hotel, motel, and prizes for the family of 4, including Maurice Pier amusement and water park passes. Who's ever been to Maurice Pier? I mean, when you're a kid, that's a staple in the Jersey Shore. Splash Zone water park passes, boardwalk tram car passes. Watch the tram car, please. Bike rental or Surrey rental. Dragon's Lair, Blacklight mini golf passes. I am a champion of mini golf, John. You might not have known that, but I'm an amazing mini golf player. Put that one in my arsenal. And then a Wildwoods Convention Center lot parking pass for 4 days. So they basically get you everything you need to have an amazing vacation at the Wildwoods. So click that link there in the chat. Go to wildwoodsnj.com/win-a-family-vacation with dashes in between the letters. But I did put the link there for you guys to click on it and enter into that giveaway. We appreciate Wildwoods for sponsoring the Birds 365 show for the summer. We'll be right back, everybody, in 3 minutes.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers, Welcome to the viewfinders, the thrill seekers, and the night owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimony.